Dragon equals 59. Dragon. Snake equals 50. And the clock froze at 12:59 and 50 seconds. Jacksonville in Florida. It's the place I've been talking about. And what's the name of the hurricane? The one in the news now is Dorian. Dorian is the one threatening Florida as I speak. Today is the 30th. It's Friday, 30th of August 2019. But I'm in Australia, so I'm 14 hours ahead of Florida, 16 hours ahead of Wyoming. It's Friday the 30th. I've been talking about Friday, September 6th and Friday the 13th. Thursday the 19th. Have faith? No, that's the other message. What's this one? We can catch up next Thursday at 1 p.m. We can catch up next Thursday at 1 p.m. I think that connects to Steamboat Geyser, but it might be something else. It might be a landfalling hurricane. Michael. It's the name of an archangel. The name of an archangel. Michael. Michael making landfall on Mexico Beach last year. A killer. Archangel name. Gabrielle. That's the one I'm talking about. The sister of Michael, I guess you could say. Michael's sister. 12:59:50. Dragon 59, snake 50. Most people would think, oh, that must be the monster. What if it's not? What if it's not? It's 2 days, 14 hours, 33 minutes since Steamboat Geyser last erupted in Wyoming. A message from an archangel. Gabriel is not Gabriel. 27th of August. The last eruption of Steamboat Geyser. Dirty Girl. The North Vent. Dirty Girl. Interesting. Erin was there. Erin was there. Erin. Erin was named 2 days ago. Not a big attention grabber. Erin was just a tropical storm. The name after Dorian. Erin, which means the next one is Fernand, then Gabriel. Not far away. I think Dorian is a messenger from Gabriel. He's the scout they sent out to send a warning. 27th of August 2019. The red eruption of Steamboat Geyser. Red equals 27. When he's in jail, after being tortured, he can only dream in red. What is the shadow of God? The shadow of God is the authoritarian. The authority turned evil. Authoritarian. Let's refresh the page. Jacksonville, Florida. What is the time in Jacksonville? 3:22. 3:22 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. 14 hours. 14 hours behind Eastern Standard Time in Australia. A reflection of the Cat 5 cane suffered by the DJ, Dorian. It looks for all money right now that Dorian is going to be a destroyer. But I got a feeling. I got a weird feeling. Dorian is a messenger. A messenger from Gabriel. A messenger. The one they sent out. He's the scout they sent out to look out for Gabriel. No, not Gabriel. Gabriel. Gabriel is not Gabriel. Dorian is Gabriel. He's the one they tortured. He's the boy in prison. In Singapore. He's the boy they put in jail and tortured in Singapore. They tortured him and they deny that it's torture. But it is torture. It's definitely torture. Steamboat Geezer 175. It's more than just a message about a hurricane. It's a message about corrupt power. The authoritarian is not God. It's the shadow of God. Powerful 116. Dorian is powerful, but he has a good heart. A loving heart. He's not a destroyer. So what's he going to do? He's been full of tricks since the beginning of his life. He's got everyone's attention. What next? Punishment 139. Punishment. Steamboat Geezer. Powerful hurricanes. The word punishment, if you add up all the letters, has a value of 139. No light, no light in your bright blue eyes. I never knew daylight could be so violent. No light, no light. Florence and the Machine. When the DJ is in jail, he can only dream in red. Red Rain. It's a song by Peter Gabriel. A song by Peter Gabriel. England. The UK. DJ Ming. The former DJ. He was a DJ in Singapore. A Singaporean DJ. A former London schoolboy. A former public schoolboy from London. Tortured in Singapore. Arrested. Drug trafficker. That's how you demonize a human being before you torture him. Just call him a drug trafficker. Scout. They sent him out. Indeed they did. He's the scout. They sent him out. To warn. For Gabriel. Gabriel. For Gabriel, the Archangel. Send a warning on behalf of Gabriel, the Archangel. For Gabriel, the monster, torturer. A reflection of the torturers in Singapore. Ruthless, mean, sadistic, cruel, nasty. Australian government are monsters. I couldn't agree more. The way we've treated refugees in Australia, asylum seekers, is disgusting. Over a long time, it's been the shadow in my country, the shadow in my life, in the background, in the news, all the time, this cruelty inflicted on refugees and asylum seekers. And yet it pales the cruelty of Australia's government to asylum seekers pales alongside that of Singapore. And yet, why is it Australia has such a good relationship with Singapore? nations that torture people. Conservatives, social conservatives, who torture people, and their quest for power seems to be endless and limitless. What's the go with authoritarians taking control, left, right and centre, all over the world? United States is no exception. United States turning a blind eye. The Trump administration turning a blind eye to human rights violations. Saudi Arabia, the journalist Jamal Khashoggi. China, jailing more people than we could even count. It's happening everywhere. Human rights violations. People forgot. They forgot what's important. And Gabriel is an angel. Gabriel is an angel. Gabriel is the monster that tortured the angel. This is a real message. I know it's a real message. I can feel it. The shadow. What is the shadow of God? What is the shadow of God? I can show you. I can show you the real shadow of God. Do you want to see it? Ming Yuan. You know, when they cane you in Singapore, they do it so hard, you bleed. Do you know why the DJ can only dream in red? It's because he was tortured. That's why. Tortured. Not disciplined. Oh no. No, nothing even close to discipline. Torture. No exaggeration. These guys are sadists. They're sickos. And it disturbs me that I can go for a drive, turn on my radio, and hear Australian radio stations giving away holidays to Singapore as if it's just some nice friendly country in Asia. It's not. They don't just cane people. They mutilate people. People who they've demonized as evil, Satan, Lucifer, devil, just like every other person that's been tortured by every authority throughout history, demonized as Satan before they're tortured as a criminal. A message from Gabriel. Gabriel is Lucifer. Lucifer is Gabriel. Gabriel is Lucifer. Santa, Satan. It's the same letters. What is the shadow of God? Torture. Torture, and they call it justice. Sickos, sadists. Closeted, dishonest, sadist sickos. And you can win a holiday to Singapore from Canberra just by listening to the radio. Isn't that remarkable? Isn't that saying something about this world? Ain't it just? Dorian equals 61. Breeze is 61. Nathan's surname. Miracle is 61. Steamboat Geezer. Prediction 113. We can catch up next Thursday at 1 p.m. Next Thursday is the 5th. Martin, his birthday is the 6th. Singapore does not have a problem with homosexuality. It does have a problem with homosexuals who are honest. If they're honest, then they can be caned. Cat 5 intensity. Blood, blood, blood. Red Rain. It's a song by Peter Gabriel. Red rain is falling down all over me and the red, red sea. 140. Bad Mirror Boy. Florence Welch. Florence and the Machine. She's from England. Artist, singer, songwriter. It's in the lyrics. No light in your bright blue eyes. I never knew daylight could be so dangerous. So violent. So violent. Not dangerous. Dangerous Dorian. Violent Gabriel. Dangerous Dorian. Violent Gabriel. I never knew daylight could be so violent. I never knew daylight could be so dangerous. I never knew daylight could be so violent. I never knew daylight could be so dangerous. Michael, Archangel, Gabriel, Archangel, Michael, Demon, Destroyer, Gabriel, Destroyer, Demon, Dorian, the Boy Scout. They sent him out to send a warning to anyone who will listen, really. Do you want to feel the Cat 5 cane? Do you want to know what it feels like? Cat 5? Do you want to feel that pain? Shock, trauma, extreme shock, trauma, horror. It's not a hurricane, it's a hurricane. It's the hurricane. Hurricane Gabriel. Hurricane Gabriel. Hurricane of Gabriel. Gabriel, victim of the hurricane. What is the shadow of God? 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 Gabriel. Gabriel. A reflection of the torturer and the victim. All in one. All in one. Red, 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 red. Rain, rain is coming down all over me. No light in your bright blue eyes. I never knew daylight could be so violent. I never knew daylight could be so dangerous. I never knew daylight could be so violent. So violent. So shocking, horrible, terrible, shocking, awful, traumatizing, extreme, trauma, blood, injury, nasty, cruel, sadistic, sick, sadists, torturers who set themselves up as if they're God. That's what they are. And you can win a holiday to Singapore from Australia. Go figure. It's 3:35. Doesn't really matter what you say. Human rights has taken a back seat. Buddy pal, a big back seat. And the blood red rain is falling on the twins, Daniel and Samuel. And yeah, this is a real prophecy. That's why it's so disturbing. Scary, actually.
Paolo Guarani in London, and this is CNN.
Cracking down on protesters, police in Hong Kong arrest several high-profile pro-democracy leaders, including prominent activist Joshua Wong. Bracing for impact, Hurricane Dorian heading for Florida, now on track to become a Category 4 storm. And later, protecting the most vulnerable. A CNN Freedom Project report on efforts to stop human traffickers from targeting Rohingya women and girls. Live from CNN World Headquarters in Atlanta, welcome to our viewers around the world. I'm George Howell. The CNN Newsroom starts right now. Around the world, good day to you. One of Hong Kong's most prominent pro-democracy activists has been arrested. Joshua Wong was taken away early on Friday morning, just as the city prepared for a 13th straight weekend of protests, and he's not alone. Two other activists were also detained. Wong's party says the arrests are meant to, quote, spread fear. And on the story, our Paula Hancock is live outside police headquarters. Paula, tell us more about this particular arrest.
Well, George, what we're hearing from Joshua Wong's group is that they say he was forcibly put into a minivan just outside a train station at 7:30 a.m. this morning. Now, what we know from police is that they say that they are holding him on charges of organising, inciting and participating in an unauthorised assembly. It's certainly not the first time he's been arrested. The group say this is the fifth time he's been arrested. He's also been in prison, just being released last June as well, because of his involvement in the 2014 pro-democracy movement as well. Now, another member of his team as well, Agnes Chow, she has been arrested. And then a third individual, this is a man who's the head of a party that's been banned in Hong Kong. It's calling for the independence of Hong Kong from China, Andy Chan. Some more serious charges for him, suspicion of rioting and assaulting a police officer. So we're really seeing a roundup of some of the very well-known names this Friday. Friday morning, of course, ahead of what was expected to be quite a busy weekend of protesting. But none of them are any stranger to the fact that they've been arrested before, they have been in trouble with the law before because of their pro-democracy and, in Andy Chan's case, pro-independence tendencies.
Paula, given the fact that this is supposed to be a leaderless movement, what impact does it really have overall?
Well, George, this is one of the reasons that they wanted a leaderless movement this time around, because they thought if you don't have a figurehead, if you don't have the leaders at the top, then they can't be arrested, and the police and authorities can't cut the head off the movement. So there are a number of different groups within this movement. It's not just one particular movement. So the fact that these particular individuals have been arrested won't stop people from going out onto the streets. In some cases, it may even encourage more people to come out onto the streets. But what we were expecting tomorrow on Saturday, this massive rally from one of the largest and most peaceful protest groups, the Civil Human Rights Front, they've now been denied to have a march or an assembly by police. Police have said that they simply can't protect that rally. They believe that there could be civil unrest, so they have denied for the first time any kind of assembly by this particular group. So that group has now said that they can't call for their members to come out onto the streets on Saturday because they can't protect their safety. Of course, what that could mean is that the families, the more peaceful protesters, don't come out onto the streets, but it's very unlikely to mean that nobody comes out. There could be other elements that still want to come out and make their opinions heard. George?
And we'll keep a watch on it. Paul Hancock's live in Hong Kong. Thank you, Paul. All right, here in the United States, people are bracing in the state of Florida for a direct hit from a dangerous, powerful storm that is gaining strength in the Atlantic right now. It is Hurricane Dorian. Now a Category 2 hurricane with sustained winds of 165 kilometers per hour. But it's forecast to get even stronger and to make landfall along Florida's east coast as a Category 4 storm on Monday. If that happens, this will be the strongest hurricane to hit that state since Andrew in 1992. 4 days out and people are preparing. They're getting food, gas, and other supplies. The U.S. president also announced that he's canceling a long-planned trip to Poland this weekend to instead monitor the storm. Let's get the latest on where this storm is. The timeline now with our meteorologist Derek Van Dam on deck. Derek.
Yeah, George, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. I think that's the best message here, but what we have right now is a formidable hurricane over open ocean waters that are lukewarm, well, rather bath warm. We're talking 90 degrees or roughly 32 degrees Celsius. We are talking about jet fuel for hurricane development, and this is going to allow for the storm to continue to strengthen over the next 48, 72 hours. 165 kilometer per hour sustained winds, according to the National Hurricane Center, 2 a.m. update. That is equivalent to a Category 2, and you'll be able to see where it's going from here in just one moment. But one thing that's interesting to note, if this makes landfall as a major hurricane, which we expect it to do on the Florida coastline here into Monday, this would be the third consecutive year with a major hurricane making landfall in the state of Florida. Think about the economic impacts that has. Here's the forecast path. Look at the winds increasing in time, Category 4 strength before making landfall. And what's interesting to note here is that there's a large uncertainty in our computer models towards the end of our forecast cone here, that because the forecast for the particular hurricane shows a dramatic slowdown. So this system could meander along the east coast, running parallel, which would be a worst-case scenario. It could move across the central portions of the peninsula. It could move across southern Florida and into the warm, open waters of the Gulf of Mexico and reform and re-strengthen. So all cards are on the table. We're watching all possibilities. It's still 4 to 5 days out before the system really brings its worst components to the state, but nonetheless, we are preparing ourselves for an elongated time of heavy rainfall, strong winds, and coastal storm surge as well. Comparison between the two models that we look at is quite dramatic, not in terms of the location. You can see basically along the central and southern portions of the state, but it's really the time frame from Tuesday morning to Wednesday morning, depending on which model you're looking at. But one thing's for sure, we have the warm ocean waters and then the potential for that curve to the north and northeast that brings it either parallel to the coastline or over the open ocean waters of the Gulf of Mexico. So time will tell, and we have time to refine our forecast here going forward. But given the available knowledge that we have to us, the best guess, the best information that we have available, we do believe that hurricane force conditions will start to impact the northern Bahamas by Saturday morning. And then as we head into Sunday morning, we'll start to feel tropical storm force winds for places like Miami, West Palm Beach, into the Jupiter Inlet region. You could see the significant wave heights associated with the system as well. This is really a triple threat. And when the storm slows down, George, you know all too well from covering these in the field with me, when they slow down, it magnifies the threats of a hurricane for tropical storm force winds as well as heavy rain.
Derek, millions of people in the path of this storm. Good to have folks like you keeping an eye on it. The countdown is on. We'll stay in touch with you. The countdown also on for Brexit, and apparently the British Prime Minister...
Conservatives. Politically correct. Conservatives are one side of town, politically correct on the other side of town. Honest people are just trapped in the middle. And I am so sick of living in the shadow of God. And I don't think I'm alone. The shadow of God is the authoritarian, ruling over the ordinary people, the loving people, the people who have love in their hearts.
What children she gave birth to, so everything just went upside down. Even our family abandoned us. So Mama felt pity. She now said that, okay, they now talk together, agree everything. She now gave my mom one paper or something. I've never seen my mommy like that. She was just jumping when she entered the house. Just as I walked up, she just said good news, good news. Then we heard the news. All of us now became happy. Then she now took us to long life and prosperity. Beep, beep, beep.
These 9 children now call Sheyi Mama, and she calls them the Dream Catchers. She hasn't legally adopted the kids, but their parents have all trusted the 27-year-old to care for them and put them in an environment better than what they were living in.
Now we're at the house of one of my kids, and her name is Imole. That's a father right there, and that's the young girl. I actually met her at the Tamaga bus stop. She used to sit right there during school hours with her baby brother. I came over to her house, which is right here, and I spoke to her parents about putting her in school and then teaching her dance and basically just giving her a better life. And they were very, very open to what I had to offer them.
Let me dispel a little myth for you. There are some who would like you to believe that caning in Singapore has something to do with Islam. It doesn't. No, it's very much a British legacy. Caning in Singapore is entirely a British legacy. It's extreme. It's category 5. There's going to be a reflection in the weather of the category 5 caning suffered by the DJ. Dorian the DJ. Gabriel, the shadow of the archangel, the shadow of God. The destroyer. What does the D stand for in God? Destroy. It was a boy who told me that. An Indian boy. D for destroy. D for Dorian. D for DJ. D for drug addict. Destroy. What was destroyed? The DJ's butt cheeks. That's what was destroyed by the caners in Singapore. Cruel, sadistic torturers. Not disciplinarians. No. No, torturers. Cruel, dishonest, sick, sadistic torturers. Like I said, in Singapore they don't have a problem with homosexuality. They just have a problem with homosexuals who are honest. That's all. You can't be honest. I'm so sick to death of authoritarians, bullies, people in power abusing their power. Reflection is coming. I'm not the only one who's sick to death of it. A lot of people are sick to death of it. Authoritarians. They're not trying to make the world safer. They're not trying to keep people safe. We're just talking people who get a big thrill from having power over others. That's all it's about. It's all it's ever been about. They get off on it. They're not honest about it. They get off on it. They're not honest about it. They lack the courage to be honest about who they are, what they are. They torture people under the guise of justice. Oh, it's justice. It's not justice, it's torture. You cowards. You bastards. You're torturers. That's what you are. Torturers. Cowards. Bullies. Bastards. That's what you are. 173 people died in Black Saturday firestorms. Agonizing is 102. Nathan and Crystal, 183. A prophecy from the children of Gabriel. The children of Gabriel. Who are the children of Gabriel? Nathan, Jake, Ming Yuan, abducted by the state of Singapore, the government of Singapore, the judicial system, corrupt, evil, dirty, disgusting Singapore. What they do to people is cruel and evil, and most people don't care. They just don't care because a lot of people don't know. Hard to care if you don't know, because there's so much secrecy, a veil of secrecy around all this stuff. There always has been. There always has been. Who won the war? Did the West win the war or did the Nazis win the war? Because you could have fooled me. Steamboat Geezer, Wyoming. A message from an angel. Not just any angel, an archangel. Because that's who you strap to the trestle. That's who you tortured. An archangel. Did you know that? Oh, you thought you were torturing Lucifer. You thought you were torturing Satan. Turns out you were torturing Gabriel, archangel, God's messenger. Oops. Yeah, big oops. Yeah, sucks to be you now. Breeze is 61. Nathan and Crystal, 183. They were among the 173 people who perished. Nathan and Crystal. Agonizing. Agonizing pain. Excruciating pain. Torture. Torture. It's like the naughty altar boy or choir boy who the priest caught doing something naughty and took him out into the back room and said, you know what? Since you broke the rules, since you were naughty, now I'm going to do whatever I want to you. I can, I've got the power, so I can do whatever I like to you. And no one can do anything about it, because I've got the power. I'm the authoritarian. I'm the priest. I'm the bishop. It's no different. There is no difference. Whether it was done to him at the age of 12 or at the age of 29, it makes no difference at all. Most people don't know. The caning is so hard the skin disintegrates. Sickos, sadists, torturers, evil. You want to know what a shadow of God is? You're going to see. It's going to be reflected in the weather. America, United States, used to be like, alright, I think, when it came to standing up for human rights. Now it's like you've given a green light to the whole world, and there's so many little dictators around, authoritarians. I mean, Singapore's been doing it for decades, centuries, don't get me wrong. They never stopped caning people, but they slowly got worse. And worse. And worse. The intensity got worse. And worse. And worse. Nastier. Crueler. More extreme. Way too extreme. Beyond what you can call punishment. Going into what is definitely torture, but you can't even admit that. You cowards, liars, sadists, sickos, you can't even admit that you torture people in Singapore? At least admit it. You are no archangel. You're a destroyer. You're evil. You are the shadow of God. You're disgusting. You make me sick. Truly, you make me sick. You right-wing extremist liars. Even Alan Jones is saying, monsters. Australia's government are monsters. Until you compare us to Singapore and what they do to people. But we have a good relationship with Singapore. The USA, Trump administration, nice and cozy with Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince. Interesting, isn't it? Miracle is 61. Dorian is 61. A messenger. An angelic messenger. Gabriel is no angel. Dorian, the DJ boy. Dorian is like the school cane. You should see the judicial cane. It's nasty. It's real nasty. It's category 5 and it doesn't miss. 1:55 a.m. Friday 30th of August 2019 in Jackson, Wyoming, USA. Mountain Daylight Time. Where's the DJ from? He's from London. London. What's the time in London? It's 8:55 a.m. British summertime. Friday 30th of August 2019. What's it all about? It's a reflection of torture. Simple. That's what it is. A reflection of a torture victim and his torturer. The shadow of God. The shadow of God. What is the shadow of God? Well, today has a clue. The clue is in the moon. No light in your bright blue eyes. I never knew daylight could be so violent. 555, all the fives, man. 837. Hell is 37. No light in your bright blue eyes. I never knew daylight could be so violent. It's tonight, 8:37. The black moon, the supermoon, the new moon. No light in your bright blue eyes. I never knew daylight could be so violent. I never knew they could be so heartless and still call themselves Christians. I didn't know that was possible. How do they attach the word Christian to themselves when they're so heartless and cruel to their fellow human beings? How do they get away with that? Well, they've been doing it for centuries. Don't act so surprised. Don't be so surprised. Dorian. Dangerous Dorian. Violent Gabriel. No light. No light in your bright blue eyes. I never knew daylight could be so violent. 5:57 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Steamboat is actually twins, you know that? Twin vents. 9:19. Interesting. Selwyn is 117. Torture, 117. Western Park, 142. Steamboat 96, and there's two of them, twin vents of the Steamboat Geyser. The twin vents of the Steamboat Geyser. Twins. Steamboat. The last eruption on the 27th of August. Red is 27. Dirty girl. A red eruption. A warning from Gabriel, Archangel. Powerful angel. And you tied him to a wooden trestle and you caned him so hard most people couldn't even comprehend. It's like 2019 this happened. Not back in the days of the Nazis. No. 2019 in Singapore. Oh yeah. Insist to see this guy's backside. Insist to see what they did to it. Because if there's any credibility in all this politically correct garbage, teenagers being banned from social media for taking off their shirts, if there's anything authentic or real in any of the Western rules at all, like even a shred of authenticity or sincerity, then you have to insist that we see this guy's backside, what they did to it. Otherwise it's all meaningless crap, and it all means nothing. And the soldiers died for nothing. And the Nazis won the war. It's a fact. They did. Unless people say enough is enough. In Singapore, if you want to have any tourists, any visitors, you need to let this guy go, because it's not cool to torture someone and then keep them in prison. Nobody can be held captive by people that have tortured them. That is disgusting. And it's not acceptable. Not in any world. You demonize someone as Satan, you torture them, and then what? You keep them in a cage? No way. If there's anything real about Western democracy, freedom, the wars of the past, if any of it meant anything at all, you will insist on seeing what they did to this guy's backside. The proof is in the scars. Know what I mean? A reflection of torturer. The torturer of the DJ is coming. It's in the weather. Dorian the messenger. Dorian is the messenger. Gabriel is not Gabriel. He's a child of Gabriel. You effectively tied Gabriel to a wooden trestle, or maybe it was metal, and you flogged him. Well, if that's what you're into, why don't you do it to each other? Why do you have to demonize people and, under the guise of a justice system, torture people who have no interest in it? Do it to each other. If you're that into it, do it to each other. Don't do it to innocent people. Oh, he's not innocent. He's a drug addict. Don't try and defend your disgusting behaviour to me, because it's not going to work, Singapore. I'm not going to buy your crap. The most important rules in the world, the most important laws on earth, are the laws that safeguard people from torture. Those are the most important rules on earth. The most important laws in the world. Dorian is 61. You've broken the most important laws on earth. The DJ has nothing to answer for. He's broken laws that are nothing compared to the laws that you guys have broken. And you can't keep him anymore in jail. You've got no right. You've lost that right. You lost it the day you tortured him. Totally. So if the soldiers died for something, if Anzac Day is meant to mean something, if Remembrance Day is meant to be a day where we bother to get out of bed, then people had better insist on this man being released, because he's a child of Gabriel. And it is going to be a reflection. You better believe it. Oh, you thought you were torturing Lucifer. Oh, but we thought we were torturing Satan. Well, you thought wrong, didn't you? You made a big mistake. A huge mistake. A bigger mistake than you can begin to comprehend. But you know what? That's why you shouldn't torture people. It's precisely why torturing people is wrong.
prepared. And so if you're anywhere on that east coast of Florida, you want to have food, water, medicine for up to 7 days.
A state of emergency across Florida. Hurricane Dorian gaining strength overnight. It could be the strongest storm to hit the East Coast since 1992.
Breaking overnight, the Iowa caucus could be in for radical change, why it may no longer be the first state to vote.
Through a lot of chemotherapy, and thankfully that is now over. I'm on the mend, and that's all I can hope for right now.
What is remarkable? Alex Trebek healthy and back at work months after a grim diagnosis. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our viewers in the United States and around the world. This is Early Start. I'm Amaryl Walker, in for Christine Romans.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm Dave Briggs. Friday, August 30th, 4 a.m. in New York and in South Florida. That's where we begin with breaking news this morning. Florida on heightened alert, bracing for what could be the most powerful hurricane to slam into its east coast in nearly 3 decades. Dorian is expected to make landfall as a Category 4 storm on Monday. Overnight, the hurricane strengthened to Category 2, wind speeds increasing to 105 miles per hour.
This will be the 4th year in a row for Florida getting hit by a hurricane, and that hasn't happened since the 1940s. At this hour, every county in Florida is under a state of emergency.
We can't tell you exactly where this thing's going to go right now. It's been kind of here and there, and it's not been a very, consistent path in some respects. But nevertheless, be prepared. And so if you're anywhere on that east coast of Florida, you want to have food, water, medicine for up to 7 days.
State of emergency has also been declared in Georgia. The storm packs a lethal combination of open seas and high tide. Derek Van Dam tracking Dorian from the CNN Center in Atlanta. Derek, what's the latest? Are we getting any new information on this track of Dorian?
Well, Cat 2, that's what we know, 105 mile per hour sustained winds. What is new to me is that it is becoming more and more difficult to envision a Labor Day weekend that won't be impacted by a major hurricane across the Florida coastline. All of the models starting to converge. I'll show you that in just a moment. The convection here on satellite looking more and more impressive, even though it's been fighting off some dry air. We're starting to get some overshooting cloud tops. A sure sign that this storm continues to strengthen, and strengthen it will do, continuing into the next 48, 72 hours. But what I want you to notice is this large cone here on the path of uncertainty. It is large because it's expected to slow down in forward speed. So the computer models are having a difficult time picking up on exactly what it will do. Will it run parallel with the East Coast? Will it move throughout the central parts of the peninsula? Will it move over southern Florida and reemerge in the warmer ocean waters of the Gulf of Mexico and re-strengthen? All cards are on the table. We're looking at all possibilities. But if this storm does indeed slow down as it's projected to do so, it will heighten the threat level across Florida as we head into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of this upcoming week. Of course, we've got Labor Day weekend. It will be a triple threat with not only coastal storm surge, heavy rainfall leading to flash flooding, and damaging winds for a prolonged period of time. Look at the model consensus here. We have some consensus coming into location, into southern Florida, West Palm Beach particularly. The timing starting to come together miraculously because there was quite a separation here in previous model runs. So starting to hone in on a Tuesday morning landfall in southern Florida.
All the components to grow and continue to strengthen. Derek, thank you. Right. All hands on deck in Florida. 2,500 National Guard members have been activated. 1,500 more are on standby. The state has 819,000 gallons of water and 1.8 million meals ready for distribution. Another 200,000 gallons of water are on the way. The University of Miami and the University of Central Florida among the colleges closing for varying periods of time today into next week.
Many local school districts are also closing early or delaying classes in the football game between Florida State and Boise State. Scheduled for Saturday night in Jacksonville will be moved to Tallahassee. County health departments are busy preparing resources for the elderly and disabled. And businesses that rely on that Labor Day weekend as a major source of revenue now have a very big financial gap to fill. Leila Santiago with more now from Port Canaveral.
Dave, every single person that I have asked, what is your biggest concern? They say a direct hit. Now, they're quick to say it's still a little bit early, but they are monitoring, keeping a close eye on where Hurricane Dorian is headed. And that's, for a lot of people, it's because they still remember Hurricane Irma and the damage that came with it. So they are taking this seriously, and they are already taking precautions, getting prepared. The stores have started to limit the amount of water that people can buy. We've seen Waste Management making the rounds, making sure that they are picking up any debris that could be dangerous should winds pick up around here. Today, we expect 2 truckloads of sand to come into Cocoa Beach so that residents can make their own bags to help protect their property. Now, the other aspect of this is we're coming up on a long weekend here, so businesses were really depending on more tourists being here. I talked to one hotel manager who told us that she's had a whole bunch of cancellations already. Here's what else she had to say. How much will you lose here?
This hotel, in excess of $120,000.
For this hurricane?
Yes, for this hurricane. 2 days in August. And then in September, that's the 1st of September, Sunday, Monday, another 50, 60.
Yeah.
It's costly to the whole area.
And we are at Port Canaveral. Yesterday, they had 2 cruise ships here. Today, they expect 3 cruise ships here. But already, the port is saying after that, you're likely to see a bit of an adjustment in the itinerary. Of course, we are here as well, tracking the storm along with the people, waiting to see what decisions will be made as Dorian makes its way to Florida.